Easy Peasy hit us up, and as you know, anytime Easy Peasy asks a question, we listen. So from Los Angeles, California, the question is, which bowl game matchups are you most anticipating? And then he said, it can be more than one. It's your show. Well, you know what? Since we got permission there, let's look at 4 games. I thought this was the Pop-Tart Bowl. Probably the biggest disappointment of my evening is the fact that Arizona and Oklahoma are not playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl, which means, Jesse, I need you to crank the teleprompter up and tell me who is playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl. It's the only game with an edible mascot. I need to know who's playing in the game itself. So Arizona and Oklahoma are playing in the Alamo Bowl. And Arizona, I just talked about them a second ago. It's one of the hottest teams in college football. It sounds like we're talking about the National League wild card race, talking about hot teams all of a sudden. And this is how we'll be talking about the playoff next year. Hot teams sneaking in the back door of the playoff. Well, you know what I get to see from Arizona? I get to see, like I just said, I get to see Noah Fafita. I get to see one of the hottest teams in the sport. But on Oklahoma's side, this is where the portal era gets interesting. So the casual may look and say, Oklahoma's screwed, man. Their starting quarterback left. Yeah, there's a reason he left. The reason is Jackson Arnold, and that's who we'll get to see in the bowl game. I'm looking very, very much forward to that because normally you got to wait until spring practice, to get your first look at your new starter. And as best we can tell, we don't have to wait until any further than the Alamo Bowl to see Jackson Arnold. And Arizona's a 3-point favorite. So if in Sooner Nation out there, you think you know that the value of Jackson Arnold is being misdiagnosed, you may have a money line special there. You may have a slight underdog you want to bet straight up. I do have breaking news here, and this is breaking news on this show only. NC State and Kansas State are playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I happen to know some staffers on one or both of those teams. So any of the swag that's given away at that bowl game, we may be able to get our hands on. And you know who you are, and you know I expect to hear from you after this call to action later tonight. Next up, the Cotton Bowl is 12/29. And it's not military time. I'm telling you, it's December 29th at 8 p.m. It's Missouri, Ohio State. Here's why this is interesting to me. For a long time, it seemed like the SEC would get themselves in this very, very much no-win situation in bowl season, where one of their big brand teams fell short of expectation, national championship contender doesn't go to the title game, and they miss the playoff, and whatever's left of them emotionally shows up to a bowl game disinterested. And meanwhile, you got a team looking to make their mark on the college football world, and what better way to do it than to take down a Goliath from the SEC? Well, all of a sudden, that little dynamic got inverted in a game like this, and now it's Ohio State with a quarterback in the portal, and Ohio State with their preseason goals out the window, and Ohio State goes to the Cotton Bowl? The Cotton Bowl's not a playoff game this year. Yeah, but that's where you're going. And you face Missouri. So Missouri has moved all the way up to nearly a touchdown favorite. No. They were a dog, and now they've crossed 0, and they are a favorite of around a field goal now. How will this play out? I mean, what's reasonable for me to expect from Ohio State? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I know what level I'm going to get from Missouri. And look, that would be a good game just outright on a neutral field in October of this year, as it turns out. So let's see how the bowl game plays out. The Peach Bowl, the producer Jesse Bowl here, is December 30th at high noon. Ole Miss versus Penn State. Good game. Really good matchup. Penn State lost both coordinators. Yursich they fired. Manny Diaz took the Duke job. So, you got some musical chairs being played at the coordinator spots. You also don't fully know what the opt-out situation is. Like Olu Fashanu, we don't know if he's going to play in the bowl game. Chop Robinson's out. We don't know some of these names for Penn State. We think Ole Miss is pretty much good to go. And I got Lane Kiffin just steadily cheering the departures on. I mean, Chop Robinson announces that he is foregoing the bowl game to prepare for the NFL draft. Lane Kiffin retweets it. Best of luck. Congrats on the great career. Manny Diaz, defensive coordinator, says, I'm leaving Penn State. Kiffin, retweet. Congrats. Lane Kiffin is one of one in this sport. I'll just leave it at that. And the Citrus Bowl, not to be forgotten, the old New Year's Day 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff down there from Orlando, Florida. And we got Tennessee versus Iowa. And I know what most people think. Most people think, well, not most people. I know what most coaches think when they look at Iowa. Outside of the Big Ten, most offensive coaches look and say, they are made to look like they are defensively because they never have to face any high-level offenses. And so Stats and Info pulls it up today, and sure enough, you know what the best offenses Iowa faced this year were? Illinois, Penn State, and Michigan. Those teams are ranked in the 60s offensively. And there are few truths in an uncertain world, but one of them is Tennessee is a little bit different caliber offensively than the teams I just mentioned. Or at least we think they are on paper. They rank 17th in the country in total yards per game. We all know how valuable that stat is, but you get what I'm saying. Tennessee packs a little bit more offensive punch, and so we get to see Iowa versus a pretty good offensive team, and we just ask ourselves, what's the point total? What's the number? Is this one of those games where Tennessee scores 17 and you win? Will Iowa break out every bit of trickeration offensively known to man and make you score 21 or 24 to win? I look forward to win. I always look forward to the Citrus Bowl. When is the last time the Citrus Bowl was a bad matchup? Always seems like a good matchup. So been to that game a couple times myself. I would encourage both fan bases, make your way down there. Go get yourself some quality putt-putt the night before, and then go get yourself a nice moderate sunburn the day of the game. Like, what more could you want than to be in Florida in early January?